I really don't like having to hold the microphone, but, here we are. That's just what we have to do. So, if you're a regular on the Weezer subreddit, I'd first like to say I am truly, deeply sorry for you. And second, you may recall this post, which went over how some guy figured out that Weezer's Blue Album syncs up with A Bug's Life. I wonder who that guy was. It was me, okay? It was me. I'm the one who did it. Claiming responsibility, I did it. I'm the one who made the post, okay? I did that. Anyway, since I made that post a long time ago now at the time of recording this, and subsequently took a step back from Reddit for reasons unrelated to the strike in June, I decided, hey, this has legacy written all over it, and why not make something like this more accessible to more people? Because reading can be hard sometimes. So yeah, let's get into exactly what all of this is if you have no clue what I'm talking about. So I know there's a decent chunk of you watching this video who are like, what the actual is this guy going on about? This isn't another Green Day video he's made. What is all this? And to that I say, let me explain, okay? Calm down. Back in May or June of this year, I became really fascinated about how certain movies and certain albums have been known to sync up with one another. The most infamous example of this phenomenon is The Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which creates this thing that people call Dark Side of the Rainbow. Now, I've tried this once before with something else. I'm not going to get into details here, but I wanted to try something like this for myself. However, it wasn't any album I wanted to sync up to a film. No, it was the meme album itself. The album from a band that subconsciously followed me throughout my entire life, and which prominent color I accidentally painted my walls a couple years back. It is Weezer's 1994 self-titled debut album, or as it's more colloquially known, the Blue Album. Why did I decide to do the Blue Album out of any other album? Well, memes, and I mean, it's an album most people would know. Who the hell am I kidding? I'm doing this because of the memes. But what's more notable is I wanted to sync Blue up to Cars, originally, the movie. I think it has something to do with, I've always kind of associated Weezer with Cars in my mind, because I think they had a song that was in Cars 2, which is proof, in my opinion, that Weezer does exist in the Cars universe. But I realized when I tried syncing the two up very quickly, while watching the opening of Cars with My Name is Jonas playing in the background, that it just wasn't gonna work. Because if you remember the opening of Cars, I'm not gonna have any footage in this, because A, I don't want to get copyright struck up the ass by Disney, and two, I'm an idiot who doesn't know how to rip footage from Disney Plus. It wasn't gonna work. The two were completely different tones. So I began, after that failed, I began thinking, of the main line of My Name is Jonas. The workers are going home. The workers are going home. The workers. Worker ants. Bug's Life. That's it. I had the wrong Pixar movie all along. So after I made that connection in my mind, I went to see whether or not, this would actually work. And to my surprise, it did in more ways than I initially anticipated. So I dubbed this whole theory? Is this a theory? I'm going to call it a theory. The Bug Album. I couldn't think of a better name, honestly. So I did try syncing the two up twice. Just once to see how it worked, and again to take notes. So you're probably wondering what synced up. Let me tell you. So I start so many sentences with so. I just noticed that. Wow. Ooh. My methodology behind this is that I use the Disney Plus version of A Bug's Life and the iTunes release of the Blue Album. Technically, it was a version from a CD that I ripped to the iTunes library, so there might be subtle differences in, periods of silence between tracks, So that may affect minor things depending on where you're listening to the album. But I think regardless of where you listen to the Blue Album, it'll work just fine. This coming from someone who doesn't use streaming services, because, I actually like owning music instead of, having to pay $120 a year just to listen to the same 6 albums. I started the album 25 seconds into Bug's Life. So, this is including all the credits, all the opening logos. So, when the bottom little corner says 0.25, like when the lamp hops out, and it says 25 in the corner, hit play on My Name is Jonas. Now, I specified My Name is Jonas because I didn't hit play on the album in its entirety. I just hit play on My Name is Jonas because originally I was doing it to see if my phone volume was up enough. Yeah, I felt the need to mention that because it probably would affect everything. Everything would be out of whack if I didn't press play on My Name is Jonas instead of the whole album. I'm slowly losing my mind if you can't tell. But I did let the album loop in a total of 3 times. So basically I just let it loop until the film ended. So in total it was about 3 playthroughs. However, the third one won't play all the way through, but I still let it play anyway. I know I sound super pedantic right now, but I have to be if I want to lay out everything I did. So after all of that, I can get to the actual synchronicities. I won't go over every single one of them because a lot of them are just super minor, unmemorable, or applicable for every single song during this entire experience. So I'll only really be covering the major ones that jumped out to me. Before I get going though, just synced up with basically every single song on each playthrough was character movements, generally just syncing up with the music, miscellaneous impacts, so when a character throws something or gets hit, that will be on beat with the song, and walk cycles fitting the music or being on beat with the song. So when a character takes a step, it's on beat with the music. That's about what worked for every single song, so I don't feel the need to just keep on repeating myself over and over again throughout this video. Kicking things off with My Name is Jonas for the first playthrough, it really just fit the tone and atmosphere of the opening of Bug's Life, as what I said about the line, "the workers are going home," making sense in the context of the scene, since it's the ants in the fields just getting seed to, feed their, overlords, the grasshoppers, because remember, they're the bad guys in this movie. If you don't remember Bug's Life, I don't blame you. Other than this, I don't think about it that much. Also, the seeds being put in the pile were on beat with the song. So when one got put in there, it hit with the drum. I think you can understand what I'm saying based on context clues. But it was mainly the vibe of the scene that just fit the opening of the movie. Not really much else. No one else is the perfect example of the many highs and the many lows of this experience. For every crazy synchronicity, there's 12 swaths of just dead air. This is more of a problem as we get later on with specific songs, but no one else is more of a thematic song than a direct synchronicity. As for the 3 times it does play, they are all during key moments in Flick's character arc, who Flick absolutely listens to Weezer. Come on. This guy's favorite album is probably Pinkerton. But it's this song that plays when he's first introduced and shown to be kind of an outcast. Aside from that, some character emotions fit the song, and the line "Watch Her Go" is sung when Dot is running away. What I love about "The World Has Turned and Left Me Here," other than it being, a really good song, is that it syncs up really well the first time, but is just white noise on the second. Something strange I noticed about a couple of the songs is that some of them can add some almost deeper subtext to scenes in a way, and this is one of those cases, as this is when all the inciting incidents of the film take place. I just grazed my microphone when I moved my hand. When the grasshoppers first show up, and Flick loses the food, and they're all running away, and all that stuff. So really when the plot gets going. So when Flick spins at the when he has that big backpack contraption thing on, I don't know what the name of it is, but he has this huge machine. When he spins at the beginning of the song, it really fits with the acoustic guitar opening, like that. This is like a song about, you know, feeling kind of abandoned and sad. And the title of the song is sung when several key characters are on screen, which may be subtly implying that everyone is equally at fault for things going wrong. The line, "Do you believe me?" is also sung right as Princess Ada turns her head to Flick and is like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, you piece of shit. You ruined everyone's life, and now the grasshoppers are gonna kill us." Because she totally said that in the movie, trust me. Many of the grasshoppers, like, bursting in from, like, the ceiling, because, you know, like, they just kick open the front door. They don't even use the door. But, like, you know, when the grasshoppers, like, busting in the ceiling, you know, just ripping people in half, because, you know, that's what they do. A lot of those impacts are on beat, but, like, you know, there's so many of them busted in, like, it would have been impossible, I think, for one not to have been on beat. Anyway, moving on to the funny song where he does the guitar thing. Buddy Holly. Or should I say Buggy Holly? Again, this one's a bit more of an unorthodox synchronicity, but what I mean exactly is that this, again, is a song that plays at very key moments, that being when the grasshoppers are on screen. More specifically, when Hopper is giving some, like, huge, grandiose speech. Things I want you to keep in mind are when the song plays, which I already mentioned, and the song's bridge and the lick. Yes, the lick. When they play during this scene, the bridge is when Hopper is, like, berating his brother. I think his name's, like, Mulch or something. And the lick is during, like, a close-up of Hopper's face. The Sweater Song, or Undone, if you want to be a pretentious prick about it, is another song that I want you to pay attention when it plays, as this is also when Hopper is making, like, some big statement. The vibe of the song fits way better than Buddy Holly's did, and the line of dialogue, "Do I look stupid to you?" fits really well, I think. I haven't tried this in a while because I don't want to listen to the Blue Album anymore. Also, like, this, like, when the song, like, really starts, like, after that drum intro that is iconic, like, when it cuts to the rabid grasshopper, I don't remember his name, I'll put an image of him up on screen if I can remember, but, like, the bulk of the Sweater Song plays when Flick is getting, like, sentenced to, like, death. I think they wanted to kill him, actually, so that's probably not far off. Like, when he's getting, like, sentenced for, like, losing the food. But, like, the final distortion bit of the scene, like, plays as he's, like, as Flick is, like, about to set off into the city, and, like, the kids are, like, heckling him, except for Dot, who's, like, his only friend. But Surf Wax America, on the other hand, is a song that really fits this the tone of Flick setting out in search of warrior bugs much better than, like, the distortion ending of the Sweater Song did, even though it really wasn't during that scene. It was, like, when they were bugging him. That was not a pun. That was not a pun. That was not a pun. It just, like, the feel of the song, that kind of, like, vacation, like, surfy vibe, matched really well to, like, that feeling of, you know, just venturing off into the unknown. And I think Flick grabbing the dandelion seed, like, as, like, a thing to, like, you know, glide across the gorge, was on beat with the song. I don't remember. As for, like, the feel of the song, it continues into when the circus bugs are introduced, which, again, fits quite well with, you know, the whole craziness of it all, the failing circus. Everyone hates him. Also, the notes say, I'm going to read you them word for word. Quote, "Hat takeoff as Let's Go hits." Close quote. Now, Let's Go is a lyric of the song, but I don't remember who had a hat. I think it maybe was the Flea, who's played by the guy who's, like, in every single Pixar movie. Flea, he's this guy. He's the only person who I think has a hat. It might be Flick, I don't know. From a song that fits really well, comes a song that couldn't be more out of place. Say It Ain't So literally couldn't fit less if it tried, because here's a song about Rivers Cuomo's alcoholic stepfather, but it's set to scenes of a failing insect circus. This song is basically just background noise, and I'm sitting there behind my computer listening to Weezer and contemplating life choices. I do one of those on a daily basis. Can you guess which one it is? The only thing I could kind of find that maybe worked is the lyric, "Your joke is a heartbreaker," is sung when the flies in the circus are laughing, but that is a stretch, to say the least. In the Garage, on the other hand, the opening little weird bit perfectly fit with the bug zapper gag, and like it ends right as it cuts down to the insect city with Flick there. Like, I'm not kidding, like that bit of the song ends as that scene ends. This song also adds some deeper subtext in a way, as it's a song about feeling safe surrounded by all your stupid shit, but it's juxtaposed with scenes where the characters are in quite unsafe environments, with Flick roaming the city and the circus bugs in a bar about to get their ever-living shit beat out of them by some flies. Hell, like, the line of the song, "I feel safe," is sung right as they're about to get beat up. So it kind of questions the idea of safety in a really strange and interesting way, which something like that works much better than Say It Ain't So did, because this at least gives me something to contrast it with, whereas Say It Ain't So has nothing to do with the scenes in a lyrical content, or vice versa. Holiday, the inferior Holiday, if you ask me. Like, when the song starts, it really fits with, like, the emotion of the scene, like the triumph of the circus bugs who pretended to be warriors, and like Flick like praising them, like getting down on his knees, and he's like, "Yes, I need you." Actual quote from the movie, maybe? Like when Flick's on his knees, like it's during the chorus. But like also the majority of the song is when they're going back to the anthill, which, you know, fits the whole vacation theme of the song, like, you know, let's go away for a while to some strange and distant land, like, because the warrior bugs, who aren't warriors, they're circus bugs, but he thinks they're warriors, because remember, there's some huge mix-up in this movie, because, you know, I'm not going to tell it to you, I'm not IMDb, but, like, it just, that, you know, I don't even know where I was going with that, I just lost my train of thought hard, because, like, they've never been there, so it's like, let's go there. But yeah, it fits the atmosphere of the song with it, you know, playing over these scenes. Moving into the song where nothing happens, otherwise known as Only in Dreams. It's not a bad song, don't get butthurt, okay? This is what plays when, like, the circus bugs are being welcomed in by the ants, but, like, they're still under the impression that they're the warriors that Flick found. But what really stood out to me is, like, when the title of the song is sung, and just the title of the song in general. Since the ants think the circus bugs are warriors, it could be taken as, like, this is from their perspective, like, seeing, like, what they think they're gonna do, and they're like, yeah, only in dreams. So, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Which, you know, this leads nicely into them leaving, and the song, like, building up, because, like, half this song is build up, which, you know, like, it also works like when, like, Flick is beginning to hyperventilate, and the characters are beginning to argue, and I just remembered Flick, I think, attempts, you know, sewer slide with the rhinoceros beetle. That's a fun fact. So yeah, that's about, and also I think that this is like when the bird first appears during this, but again, more on that later. So that was the first playthrough of this. But we gotta do all this shit again! Alright. My name is Jonas. Again. His name isn't Jonas. My name isn't Jonas. No one in the band's name is Jonas. Who is Jonas? Who is he? We will never know. So for the next 2 times My Name is Jonas plays, the bird, the real bird, is a key part of the scene, but for this time, you know, like I said earlier, I think the bird appeared during Only in Dreams, but that's not really relevant to my point here. Also, like, the circus bugs, like, this is like when they're trying to leave, you know, the workers are going home, and also they catch Dot, who got into some antics during this scene, like, right as the acoustic guitar starts. So I'm just gonna read this next synchronicity verbatim from the notes. The look when he says Jonas. So I'm guessing a character looks at something or someone when Rivers sings the word Jonas. No one else, again, plays during a key moment in Flick's character arc, this time like when he and Ada are getting closer with one another. I don't really think anything of else note happened. Alright, the second playthrough of The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Unlike the first, it did not work in the slightest. Outside of, some character movements and like the occasional impact, it was just null. Who would have guessed a really downer song wouldn't have fit with scenes of cartoon bugs building a fake bird to scare grasshoppers? So Buddy Holly starts right as the roly-polies do, like jazz hands, and like they pop out of the fake bird's mouth. They just go, and then what's with these homies dissing my girl? From there, can you guess which characters we cut back to as Buddy Holly plays? It's the f***ing grasshoppers. The bridge plays when Hopper is talking to his brother, and the lick is also during a close-up of his face, which is also what played during the first playthrough, and I really think I'm starting to lose it here. Something else is right before Hopper like straight up executes 3 of his men. Do they die? Do they die? I don't know. I don't know if we ever see them again. I think it'd be funny if we didn't, just, to show how ruthless he is. But Hopper says something along the lines of like, there was that one ant that stood up to us. He says it like sarcastically, right as Rivers sings, I don't care about that. So I find that kind of interesting. The scenes of the grasshoppers do continue as the sweater song starts again, which again fits because, the first time the sweater song played, it was also focused on the grasshoppers. But when it cuts back to the ants, the rest of the bugs are doing they're having like some big celebration, and a part of that is like they're doing like a conga line, which actually worked pretty well with the sweater song, all things considered. After that, Surf Wax America happens when the flea returns and exposes the circus bugs as performers, and Flick as a stupid liar who listens to Weezer. Which, if you remember, this is the song that played when the circus bugs were first introduced. So it kind of ties back to that in a way. Also, the lyric, "Now I Can Never Go Home," is sung as Flick is being kicked out of Ant Society. Alright, so Say It Ain't So during the second playthrough is like the exact opposite of the first. It's kind of like the reverse of The World Has Turned and Left Me Here, like where it works really well during the first and really bad during the second. Well, this is flipped. Because I kid you not, the song starts almost the frame the grasshoppers come out of the fog. Say It Ain't So tonally fits much better here than, earlier, because like this part is kind of dark in a way, because the grasshoppers are just coming and just blowing stuff up or whatever. Also, I think Hopper or some other grasshopper lands right as Flip on the Telly is sung. There's also a few minor synchronicities here and there, but the fact that it worked so much better here than on the first playthrough is what really stood out to me. Once again, In the Garage is played at a time when characters shouldn't be feeling a sense of safety, because this is like when the grasshoppers are occupying the anthill and Flick is being a depressed piece of shit. I don't really recall much else. I think Dot placed the stone on beat. Holiday plays as the circus bugs are coming back as a distraction, which calls back to, this is when they came here originally. Other than that, I think the Wings of the Moth character, or Butterfly, they open on beat with the song, and I don't recall much else. Alright, the big one. The second playthrough of Only in Dreams. The entirety of this song is during the showdown between the ants and the grasshoppers. The title also kind of gives it this sense of almost retaliation in a way. Don't exactly know if that's the right word to use, but it's the only thing I could think of. Because the scenes of the ants fighting back and then having their bird ousted as a fake because the flea is an idiot, but like they still fight anyway after Flick gives like a huge speech. But like it frames the title of the song in quite an interesting way, as it can be interpreted as both sides of the conflict affirming their beliefs, if that makes any sense whatsoever. From Hopper's perspective, it's like, you'll stand up to us only in dreams. But from the ants' perspective, it's like, you'll suppress us only in dreams. Aside from that, the song also underscores this part of the film really nicely, as the song, again, is mostly built up to the big explosion near the end, which begins on beat when Hopper is launched out of the canon, which isn't really a canon, but they use it as a canon. But like the rest of the song is, you know, when him and Flick are like in the rain flying. But alas, there is one more playthrough that we have to get through. Kind of. So calling this a third playthrough is a little bit of a lie, as it doesn't play all the way through, but it shouldn't discount how important this still is to this theory. Again, don't stop the album just because the movie ends before it will. So time to talk about My Name is Jonas for the third time. I'm gonna speedrun this one though. So the bird's back, like how in the second playthrough the bird was a key part of the scene. It is during My Name is Jonas here too. Also, the song plays, you know, like when the circus bugs are packing up to leave, the workers are going home. Also, the line "they're still making noise" is sung as the ants are playing instruments. No one else, again, is at a key point in Flick's character arc, as this is when he finishes it. Also, I'm pretty sure Ada kisses Flick on beat with the song. But by far, the craziest synchronicity during this entire thing is that, I'm not joking, Rivers sings "It's Over" right as the words "The End" appear on screen. I'm not fucking kidding. That happened. It's insane. It's how it ends. It's done. And I'm done. Except, I'm not done. I'm never done. So what is one to take away from all this? Well, for one, I have way too much free time on my hands. But these synchronicities are really interesting. But I highly doubt that any of these were intentional, as the film would have had to have been made around the album, as Bug's Life came out in 1998, I think, and the production of it dates back to the summer of 1994, which was the year the Blue Album came out. Which, I don't know about you, but when the time it was being made, I think they were probably more focused on, you know, improving computer graphics, as, you know, Toy Story was just about to come out and be the first full computer animated movie. So I don't think they would have tried to do something like this at the same time. And I don't know why this would be something they'd need to hide or cover up. If anything, it would actually be decent for marketing. In all honesty, this is probably just a bunch of confirmation bias at work, as the big shocking synchronicities are side by side with nothing. But it is those big shocking moments that stick out to me, and it's what made this whole thing pretty memorable in the end. I don't really have much else to say other than I think this is just kind of interesting. What's the point of all this? I don't know. And until next time, see you around.